Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura, and I am joined by my friend, my brother, Cristian Potalias. How you doing, Chris?
Buenas. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Rudy? I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. We missed out on another hurricane. As much as they're so exciting, and literally throw like a monkey wrench into our lives. It was kind of good that it just skimmed past us, brother. Because I mean, I don't know. I know that you and me didn't lose power last hurricane, but obviously feel for everybody that did lose power last hurricane. But I didn't want to be the person that lost power this time also. So, we'll pass that love to our friends in Louisiana. Hopefully they're safe and sound with, was it Francine? Doing a little bit of damage, to our neighbors, man. But, yeah, you mentioned, it's been a bit. We usually record Tuesdays. There's a lot of things that kind of just went down to push it to today. But before we move forward, I know, obviously 9/11 was yesterday, and I did want to touch a little bit on that because I feel like it's a big day for especially people like our age and older that can remember, because there's a lot of kids. I was thinking about it. Was Joey born whenever 9/11 happened? Who knows? At this point, I'm not sure. But
he was a baby if he was.
Yeah, I was like, and if it was, he probably does not remember. But man, it was. But I wanted to ask you because last time I thought we had a good conversation, kind of the aspect of being new to the country, this and that. Were you here when that happened? That was going to be my question.
I was, yeah.
So do you remember exactly how it went down? Like, you remember the day, or you were too young?
Yeah.
To remember?
No, I surprisingly enough, I remember a lot from my childhood. People, for example, when people ask me about Argentina, like family members, they're like, "Wait, you remember that?" I was like, "Yeah, I remember." Like, I can go back and remember to when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like, I remember a lot. But yeah, that day I do remember. I was in 5th grade, so I had only been in the United States for literally 9 months. So we came in December of 2020 of 2000, and September came by, and we were in school. We were doing our usual routine in the morning, which was, I remember, it was a writing prompt every morning. We had to we walked into the classroom. There was a writing prompt. Funny enough, I was still writing in Spanish, so I wrote in Spanish and I did everything in Spanish. My teacher was actually Bolivian, so my Mr. Cosillo, he was there, and then we were writing, and then he turned on the TV, and we were like, "Oh, that's weird," because you usually at that time, you only get the TV turns on when you're either watching a movie or it has to be like a super special occasion. And this time around, he turned it on, and I remember we were watching. This building is on fire in New York City, and everybody's like, I don't think a lot of people understood what was going on, especially at that age, and especially me. I was 9 years old. Like, I had just turned 9 in March. I was just there, and I was like, what the hell? And then out of the blue, you see the second plane come by and hit the second tower, and you're like, what? Like, what? We're watching a movie? You're a kid still. So, and then after that, I just remember all the parents coming to school and just everybody kind of freaking out. But in your mind, you don't understand what terrorism is. You don't, all these questions that as a child, I guess, you're not supposed to know, but you were forced to learn in a way. But it was an interesting day. You're still muted. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying not to talk over you, and I didn't click the thing. But I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, it's crazy because whether there's so many conspiracy theories and this and that, but the event itself was just one that just kind of resonates with everybody. Every American for sure, obviously around the world too, but American in general. And yeah, like you, I think I had only been here in the U.S. for 3 years. I had just moved to Pearland, And I mean, school had just started, right? Because it starts like late August, and I remember how
Yeah.
I didn't know this was happening. I remember watching like there in the news before we went to school. They were showing how there's a tower on fire, this and that, and then right when we were leaving, I remember seeing like the stream, I guess, of like the second plane hitting, and we're like, what just happened? Like I didn't understand because it was like just me and my dad, I think, and
Yeah.
we didn't like we were reading watching in Spanish, but we're still were like, I don't get it. And when I remember going to school, like all the teachers were like super like worried. At that time, I was
Yeah.
barely like understanding English, and everybody spoke English. There was no one speaking Spanish. All the
Yeah.
TVs were on. Teachers were crying, and I was like, "What is happening?" To the funniest thing is, I was talking to my wife about this, and she's a couple years younger because I was in seventh grade, so I think she was in fifth grade. She's like your age, and
Mhm.
she was like, "I was just mad my mom didn't pick me up. Like everybody was getting picked up from
Yeah.
school, and my mom never picked
Same
me up."
here.
And
Same here, dude. Same
so those
here.
were the priorities, right? As a Hispanic,
Yeah.
like your parents weren't
Yeah.
gonna stop working for that. But
Like,
man, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's just crazy. But I didn't want to like go too into it. I know there's all kinds of sides to stuff like
Yeah.
this, but again, I think it's just like one of those dates that we'll never forget, man.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if this is going too extra, but do you remember whenever Obama came out talking about they had caught or killed Osama bin Laden? I don't know if we're
Yeah, I
just going
remember
into
that.
the weeds.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember that day too, and it was like it was kind of that moment. It felt like the
Like
circle
closure.
finished.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Because you're like, dang, like I remember when I was 9
This is
and that
and granted,
happened.
I will say, since then I've watched so many different documentaries. I love documentaries. So
Uh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
who knows? Who knows at this point? But yeah, no, I feel you. Um yeah, man, we'll get right into the Dynamo talk. I know that's Dynamo dash everything. But before I let you tell the people how to connect with
Yes.
us, I know you guys can see this beautiful hat that I'm wearing, and Chris, I got yours, man. I got your polo ready.
I even got my haircut so I can rock
It's
it. You know what I
it's
mean?
it's nice, man. Ugly Guppy, man, they did a hell of a job, and all
Yeah.
the things that they send us, which was hats and polos. Man, Carlos and his team, they just put out, man. They do a great job, and we definitely have to give them a shout out. So we're working on a cool little video, marketing video that we can post on our social medias and stuff. But yeah, man, I just want to look at it, man. It's nice. It's nice. So, Chris, man, yeah, tell the people how they can connect with us, and we'll get into some Houston soccer talk, brother.
Yes, sir. The website is BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find everything and anything that we have been doing here at Bayou City Soccer. Thank you guys for checking us out, leaving reviews whenever you can, and, just reading all the articles and kind of passing them along, liking and subscribing to everything that we do. Don't forget, you can find us on social media, on X at Bayou City Soccer, Instagram, Bayou City Soccer. Go to the YouTube channel. Well, if you're here, go ahead and subscribe and like the video if you haven't yet. It goes a long way, like I said, for us. If you want to leave us a little tip, there's also a link for it as well. And yeah, I mean, we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to do a lot of great things. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the content that we're putting out. And yeah, don't forget, BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find everything. And also, shout out Ugly Guppy once again, uglyguppy.com for that.
Yep. All right, Chris, man, let's get started with your bread and butter being Houston Dynamo 2. Personally, I did not get to watch the game, whether it be live or on TV. They were playing against Ventura FC. They
Mhm.
looked very comfortable. They looked like they had the lead, and they lost that lead a little late.
Yes,
Went to penalties, and I believe they lost the penalty shootout, didn't they?
it sure did.
They sure
Yep.
did. So, obviously this in the heels of Kenny Bundy getting I guess a promotion into the first team after one of the assistants, I can't think of his name, Adine
Low.
O, we'll call him that. He ended up taking a job elsewhere. So it opened the door for Kenny to move up the ladder.
Yep.
We know how hard Kenny works, how much he puts into the Dynamo 2. Obviously, they're his kids or his boys. But interim steps in, and yeah, Brushan says Dyna Dose Deja Vu. Yeah, man, for real. And again, I think the team, we know what it is. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to make the playoffs with the few remaining games that they have. But at the end of the day, man, it's all about just getting those kids playing time. There's a lot of young players, and we've talked about this enough. From the Houston pipeline, apart from like players that keep picking up from over or from outside of the U.S. and they're doing a great job. So not a lot complaining there, but anything that you want to add, anything that you saw or you mentioned in particular in your article?
Well, for example, I know that the man, I always forget his name. The forward got a. Let me pull it up. Not Silla, the other kid. He hit the crossbar. He hit the post. One time.
Was it on
He hit,
coffee or?
let me see. My bad. I always forget names.
Yeah.
I'm not great with names.
Gianfi.
But Gianfi,
Gianfi.
Gianfi. If I'm not mistaken, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. So he had a pretty decent first half. Also a lot of speed in him.
Mhm.
So that's a good thing. You're always trying to see how how these kids are gonna react. If I'm not mistaken, this is his first season. So maybe you still have to get adjusted to a new team, new mentality, new coaching, new everything. So hopefully, if he comes back next year, it could be a breakout year for him at that number 9 position that he plays. Obviously the end of the season is coming, but he did have a decent, pretty good first half. Kids like DeMorelli, they always have a decent job on the wings. Sargent also contributed a lot. It was a really, really good half by the Dynamo.
And Diego
Gonzalez,
obviously scoring 2 goals. Yep.
2 goals. He was looking for his 10th assist going into the game. That's what the guy commentator was talking about, how he had 9 assists, how he was the creator, how he basically was the the bossy that we were looking for in the first team. He is the bossy of the second team in a way. And with 9 assists, looking for his 10th, and instead of getting an assist, he just got 2 goals. So shout out to him. A great week for him. But second half came by, and it's just they weren't just strong enough to hold it. The ex Dynamo, or at least he's on loan right now. Chara came back and
He
had a
hates
nice
Houston.
bicycle kick.
Clearly, he hates Houston, man.
Bro, the way he celebrated that goal, you would think like that there's some hate in there for sure.
Oh, there you go,
But
man.
I mean, what can you say? It's a guy that's in his mid-20s already. You don't want to be rude or mean, but usually, guys in his age are prospering in first teams,
Yeah.
or even in the USL. The guy obviously had a difficult run here in Houston, and maybe he finds his way in Ventura County. But obviously, he did score against Dynamo, dos, and he screamed it out loud like a giant fu to the whole Dynamo organization in a way. I mean, he's on loan, so technically he should come back in a way,
Right.
unless they do sell him at the end of the season or something like that. But we'll see what happens. But penalty shots, it was very tight. Sargent missed his, but then Nico Hansen did he saved the 5th PK. Silla, unfortunately, was the one that missed it. It's not the first time that he misses a PK in one of these shootouts. So maybe a little bit of more training for Silla, but he also had a really good game. So, like you said, at these moments, we have to see how much results. I mean, obviously, you want to get results. You play to win. You don't play just to play, right? They're also looking to stay in the playoff picture. Right now, they're in 8th place, which is the last place for the playoffs. They're going to Austin, which is right under them, 2 points behind. So that's going to be a really good game here. I think they play tomorrow. Friday. So it's a really good game to watch, to kind of keep up, because there's only a few games left, and everything could be dictated in the last tomorrow and whatever comes next week. So Houston Dynamo have their work cut out for him. This one could have been a great buffer between them and a bunch of other teams, and unfortunately they dropped the ball. They were able to collect the point, but you would rather have all 3.
Yeah, I mean, they play Friday the 13th. Isn't that I feel like that's a bad day, but
A lot of juju.
who knows, man. No, but yeah, you hit on pretty much everything when it comes to that. So that's good stuff. Again, we'll keep an eye out on Houston Dynamo 2. Hopefully we get to chat with Silla at some point. It'd be nice to hear from one of the guys from Dynamo 2. Which, we'll see who we can speak with. And I guess that right there, a shout out to like all the Houston Dynamo football club communication
For sure.
team when it comes to Jack, Edgar. Edgar is the GOAT, man. And obviously Angel, Leo, new guy Leo, man. He funny enough, he took over on Saturday because Jack was out of town. So we were kind of telling him like they just gave you the keys to the car, man. Like, new,
Right.
but they're
Take care of the Porsche.
gotta take care of it, man. Give it a car wash afterwards. Yeah, so that's Houston Dynamo 2 again. Christian mentioned it. They play Austin FC. By the time you listen to this podcast in the morning, they'll be playing in the afternoon in Austin. So we'll see kind of how that goes. And if looking at the table, what Houston they're doing, Austin's one of the top teams, ain't it? Maybe.
They're actually right under the Dynamo.
Never mind. Yeah.
But like right there.
By 31 points. That's a 6-game.
I think they won the championship last year, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. Yeah.
So the current
they beat Columbus. Yep. So good stuff. All right. Real quick, let's move into the Houston Dash. I don't want to get too into it because I watched the Texans game. Did you watch the Texans game?
I did. I was at work.
Yeah. So I think even poor was it Dustin's daughter. She picked the Texas State game.
That's not
also
good.
over a Dash, which that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, obviously they got put into like a weird schedule. They'll be playing actually again on Sunday at 12. So whoever's scheduling it, they're not doing them any favors. Obviously, they're last in the table for a good reason, in the sense of they just lack a lot of. They have a lot of issues. Let's just say that.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. But yeah, I mean. Now the big issue is looks like they lost Tarsiani for the rest of the season. So, they have 7 games remaining and they won't have that stellar defender that has been, playing very, very well. So,
when it rains, it pours, they say.
When it rains, it pours, man. So again, everything's still there. I feel like we beating this dead horse for way too long regarding all the infrastructure when it comes to the staff or the office side of the team. But one thing that is for sure is whoever's taking over, because again, there's rumors that is this guy. What was the guy's name, Chris? You remember? No? Okay. Anyways,
no.
So the interim manager
or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No. It was I can't think of it. Anyways, but because they haven't made it official, clearly, so maybe they don't even care if we know the name or not. But there's been obviously some transitions being happening. We talked about Olivieri getting an extension. Obviously, a couple players getting traded, being Courtney Peterson and Sophie Hurst. They also move away from CC Kaiser. Christian, this is crazy. If you remember when we did our preseason predictions for both the Houston and Dynamo. Well, for the Houston Dynamo and for the Dash. For the Dash, I put her as my lead scorer. She got 0 goals, and she's gone. So, maybe it must have been me, man. I jinxed it. I probably picked her on Friday the 13th as well, and just got bad luck. But they move away from her, and then Natalie Jacobs gets a 4-year contract extension. Putigan gets a 2-year contract extension. Michelle Aloisi gets a 2-year contract extension. I know there was somebody else that got an extension. There's there's a few. Everybody gets a Campbell. I mean, some of them are further back. Campbell and I'm trying to think of the defender. I cannot think of Nielsen. Nielsen was another one. They got an extension as well. So. Anyways, they're doing some roster building. I think they're keeping some of the better players. I'm Elliot Michelle Alozi is a question mark for me. I think the other ones they got it right. But again, this is the time, right? There's crazy that 7 games left, man, and now they're moving, doing roster, updates, and it's interesting. But yeah, they will be playing. So again, 7 games. I know, right? It feels like the season's over for them already, but they'll be playing against Washington Spirit over there in Washington again, September 15th. That's Sunday at 12 o'clock. What a time, man! What a time to play.
What a time.
What a time. At least it won't conflict with the Texans. I think the Texans have
They have a
a
prime
later
time.
game. Yeah, I think they have like a 3 o'clock game or something.
No,
So
they have it the Sunday
yeah, the
night.
Sunday night. Okay,
Yeah, if I'm not
against
mistaken.
another play in Chicago.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's no excuse. We'll probably watch it. We'll make Dustin's daughter watch it too. I mean, like, sorry, you gotta watch it. But yeah, man, it's just been incredible the amount of crap this dash has gone through. I would say this season and seasons before that, my friend. So, any thoughts? Anything you want to add regarding the dash? If not, we'll continue on, man.
No, I think it's still the same, right? Like, where is Fran Alonso? Who's making these decisions? We kind of know. We have an idea. Will they name this guy, the GM now, or when at the end of the season, or what are they waiting for? I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's some things in the background being worked on. Hopefully, because there's literally nobody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like an interim coach is taking care of the team in a way. He's just kind of babysitting till the real adults come back in a way, right? It feels like
Mm-hmm.
it. And unfortunately, the team is not great. I mean, you can say what you can, but the results kind of speak for themselves, right? They can't win at home. They can't win away. Even less than at home. Soccer wise, it doesn't look too great. It seems like sometimes they have some good ideas, sometimes they don't. Some players like Diana Ordonez, we feel like she plays good and she scores, but she doesn't get a lot of playing time. So you're like, what's going on there? You mentioned Alozi, she's a question mark. She gets to start. I think she got to start these past couple games. She only plays like half a game and then she goes out. So you're like, well, why is she starting if she's not really, contributing in a way in her position? I mean, I don't know if she's more of a winger or more of a nine.
Yeah.
But,
Let's go in a little deeper of players like that, right? Ordonez. Let's take Ordonez. I mean, Ordonez has scored, I think it was 4 goals this
4 or
season,
5,
right?
said,
4 goals this season.
Mhm.
And I think she's scored 7 goals, if not 8 now, in the 2 years she's been with the Dash. That's not great.
Yeah.
That's
She has 5.
she has 5 win today, or sorry, this season. I mean,
Diana
so let me see. Let me see. I'll
career.
Okay, yeah, because she scored the header.
Yeah, she got
this
7
weekend.
overall, 5 in the NWSL, and then 2 in the Summer Cup. Last year, she only had 4. So
okay, so now she has a 9, I guess. So 9 in 2 years, not great, for a striker in NWSL after she had a thing like of rookie high. I think she scored like 12 goals her first season.
12 goals in North Carolina Courage.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's
and 1 assist.
It's a little crazy, So,
but then again, right? We talk about that, but you also, as a number 9, you can't really create everything by yourself. You can to a certain point. I mean, 7 goals this year so far for a team that has been way underperforming. You're like, well, I mean, shit, 7 goals is 7 goals in a year.
True.
In a shitty team, you know what I mean?
I mean, you're comparing it to like Sebastián Ferreira, scoring goals on a crappy team.
Yeah,
but
because I mean, she could easily match. I mean, if she keeps going, North Carolina Courage in 2022, she had 12 goals, 1 assist in 25 games. Right now she has 7 goals, 0 assists in 22 games. Obviously, I don't know if she's going to score 5, a hat trick in a brace.
But we won't count. We can't count the Summer Cup at this point.
Well, because and then 2020. Well, then on the other one, because they have the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Well, so let's just say 11 goals, right? 11 goals. and then she has 5
5
here.
right now. Yep.
So she needs 6 in a way. She's halfway there with, like we
And
said,
she's the
a
only one
crappier
scoring,
team.
so
I mean, everybody else just has one. You know
it's
what I mean?
possible. Yeah. No, you're
Uh,
right.
I guess you can say she is performing up to standards in a way. I mean, she's scoring as many goals as she can. If you don't give it any service, I guess, if you don't have a player like Maria that can, Maria, what was her last name?
Maria
Hernandez?
Sanchez. Yep.
Sanchez. She was more of a winger that could put balls in the box. We know Ordonez is a tall girl. She can put, bring the headers down. We saw her score that goal this past weekend. The goal wasn't magical as they make it seem, but the movement was, in my opinion.
The movement was good.
Creating
I
separation.
know I was critical of the header. It was a poor type of header, but
It
it
was
went
a
in.
header. Exactly.
It goes in. She scored. Actually, I think one of her other goals was a header as well, and it was a bad header. It was, but the ball went in. So at the end of the day,
Hey,
who cares, right?
a goal
Chicharito
is a
scored
goal.
it with his face a few times, so
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. Maybe I shouldn't be as critical, but
Yeah.
I just like
At
them
least with
clean
her.
finishes.
At least with
Clean
her. Yeah.
finishes. Yeah. But
Yeah. I mean, whenever you look at everybody else, I guess we could get even more critical. But I mean, the ratings are not great for. I mean, it's a bad team, so it's just when you start off there, when you have a bad team, you can't really say much about the performance of each individual. I mean, that Diana Ordonez is the only one that is kind of performing up to task. You would have to see how. The other one you can say is a Campbell. I mean, as a goalkeeper,
for sure,
for the every game she has at least 4 or 5 saves. Goalkeepers get paid to save, and if it wasn't for her, the score lines would be a lot greater, right? And negative towards a dash.
Yeah, I think the sad part though is they got scored on 29 goals this season.
It could have been more.
It could have definitely been more for sure. But you think about it last season, I believe they only got scored like 12 goals, man. So
Dang.
It's crazy because now I feel like they have on paper better defenders, but that doesn't really mean anything, at the same time too. But yeah, sorry, 18 goals. They got scored 18 goals, but still, I mean, that was the least. They were the best defense last year, which is crazy.
Yeah.
With 18 goals.
Point
They only scored 16 goals, and obviously, they got rid of Sound Lady right away, which I mean, we won't talk too much about the past. we are calling this episode "Look Ahead but Never Forget," but we're gonna try to forget that. We're gonna try to forget that. All right, man. Again, kind of that's what we have.
They're number 3 in clean sheets. Sorry.
Yeah.
6 clean sheets. You have Orlando Pride with 10, Portland with 7, and then Houston with 6. So
yeah, that just means when you get scored a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like yeah, you once you get scored, you get plenty of multiple goals on your side, but it's just crazy. And we'll get back to it again. And we'll keep tracking what the Dash are up to. Rushan, all right, Rushan, I have a question. Who did you prefer more? And this is just purely coaching, Clarkson or Sam Laney? That's my question to you guys. I mean, we're gonna skip Juan Carlos Amoros because he's basically the Pep Guardiola of the NWSL. I mean, he came in, went into New York, went into Gotham FC, made them champions. So
that's wild.
It's crazy. It's one of the the team probably looks at it and is like, that could have been us, man. That could have been us. But Rushan, you're right. Think. Clark on is. Yep. Clarkson is it. So I'm with you. I think Clarkson was a good coach. I think he was finally getting it together, and investigation got him. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Houston Dynamo first team, Christian. They played against LAFC. I don't know if you got to watch the game or not. I can't remember. Right. You didn't go to the game, man. You said that you may get a divorce if you went to the game. So hopefully the papers were not signed for you.
No, we're good. We're Gucci.
You live another week.
Yeah, we leave another home match.
But yeah, man, just your thoughts, I guess, on that game.
No, it's like we said, going back to the conversation we had in our group chat, which was, did the Dynamo win like 1 point in the sense of you tied a really, really good team like LAFC, who historically has been putting, really good teams on the field? Or did the Dynamo, playing the great quality soccer that they have been playing lately against an LAFC, lost 2 points by tying to them when they could have won all three? So that was a discussion we had, and I think we all came to the consensus that the Dynamo lost 2 points. You have to see this game not as a tie against a great team, but a team that performed very, very well, like they usually have, which is crazy to say about the Houston Dynamo, especially with all the years that we have been doing the podcast and talking about the Dynamo. And you're like, man, the Dynamo is really good.
All right, let's put a pause right there, because
Yeah,
I was literally thinking about that the other day. I was like, I remember when we started talking about it, it was the opposite. It was, we were beating the dead horse that was dead 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We're still here seeing the same thing. And you're right. I mean, it's just changed so much, the dynamics from the team, and they're a very good team. They are a very good team. Now, just do some people think that it's not pretty soccer? Maybe. I think it's pretty soccer. I
It's
enjoy it.
beautiful soccer. Yeah.
I enjoy it. Now you just want them to be like LAFC and score a lot of goals, man.
Exactly. That's the difference, right? I mean, at the end of the day, in soccer, that's what gets you points, goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Dynamo like that. We control the ball. We love possession. We love possessing the ball. We love moving the ball around. We're good. We're good with the ball on our feet, right? We como si fuera que juego. But the Dynamo are really good, playing around and controlling, the tempo of the game, controlling everything. We're talking about any other team, I would say we lost 2 points, but it's LAFC, so I would say we won a point. Yeah, I disagree, Dago, but I appreciate your response. Just, going to that point, just because the Dynamo have been so dominant when it comes to playing good soccer, that we usually fall back to the same question of this year, which was the goals. Where are the goals coming from? And every time we would do that, then the Dynamo would go and score 3. Right. And then you tell Ben Olsen, hey, Ben Olsen, where are the goals? And he's like, bro, we just scored 3. And you're like, fuck, like, I guess we can't argue with that one. But, we talk bigger picture. Bigger picture is, where are the goals? Now, the Dynamo went out there, got Ponce. We feel like he is the answer to the question of goals. I think Inali was also a great, second answer to the question of the goal. Unfortunately, stuff happened. But I think the Dynamo are in the right direction. We had a conversation, I think, last year or 2 years ago with you guys and with Dustin, and we came to the consensus that in 2025 was the year that the Dynamo had to be, had to
legit,
for something, right? And look at
they're like way ahead of schedule. Yeah.
Last year, top 4 teams in the whole entire league. Out of 30 teams, the Dynamo came, you could say number 3 or number 4, depending on where you look at it, right? Western Conference final against this exact LAFC team. And then last year, we dominated LAFC in regular season. We dominated LAFC in regular season this year, which are supposed to be one of the big teams. But the question, like we say, still remains. If we can't put the ball in the back of the net, we're always going to struggle going to the next step. It's what separates really good teams like Dynamo and great teams like Columbus, LAFC, even the Galaxy nowadays, right? They're just another tier, in a different tier. You can play beautiful soccer, but if you're not going to put the ball in the back of the net.
And the Dynamo can compete with those teams like they've been doing. But it's one thing, and I know I mentioned how obviously we're recording on a Thursday when we usually record on Tuesdays. One of the big reasons why is because there was an event for Beers with Ben, and I was there. I don't want to, I'm sure there's a lot of off the record stuff that I'm not going to repeat for, nothing crazy. But one thing that I would mention is, and you guys are talking about LAFC, is, I think Ben mentioned how he's like, we somebody said, like, you guys have specifically, I think all 4 games, they never score on the Dynamo. Like the 2 games last year they played back to back, and then obviously there's 2 games
that's wild
back to back. And when somebody mentioned that, he said, "But you know what? I trade all of those for that one playoff game." And that's in
Oh, that's
reality, that's the idea, right? I think, competing against the big teams is great. It's great that you're in it. Back in the day, you would go and would see like, oh man, here we go again. They're playing a really really good team. You already went defeated, as a
yeah,
fan, as a maybe even as a club. Like they already knew, like we're not there, and maybe 2017 was a big fluke because they did quite a lot, right? With Elise and Kyoto and Manotas, but that was one time in like 7 years that they didn't go to play, or they went to the playoffs. But now you can see there is consistent. I mean, Ben has made a really good team, very competitive team. And then everything they've been adding, whether it be scouting, whether it be obviously Pat Onstad and Asher Mendelson, they're all like working really good in unison. And obviously, I mean, we just see how deep the pockets are of owner, Ted Siegel too. So when you see it, as like, bro, they literally spend that much money, like 8-9 million on Ponce. When have you ever thought of that? I mean, Ferreira was the historic marker for the club, and it was like 3 million. So they doubled that quickly in like 2-3 years. They did that, and it's incredible. And obviously, you can tell that they're doing a good job. I mean, unfortunately, like they have hit, I don't know, quite a few of um the players that they brought in, especially under Ben Olsen. Um, but also kind of sad that obviously like Inali gets injured, a guy that could potentially be what you needed to push you over the edge when
mhm,
playoffs came around. Because yeah, right now you look at the table and we see it as like, oh man, they're in already. They're in seventh place. There's still plenty of games left. There's gonna be teams competing for those. It's not easy, and every game that is left are literally teams fighting to get in as well. So it's not a done deal that they're gonna make it into the playoffs, but knowing the way that they're playing, and if they can continue to earn points on the road and at home, hopefully, against this RSL team that they played like 30,000 times in the last 2 years, um, that they can do it and get some points, man. Let's see what Dago said. What did Dago say? Sorry, talk between fans. Question if Ponce is the guy. What is your opinion? Personally, I don't see Ponce having a huge impact until next season because I agree with that. You have to see it
yeah,
as it's going to take time. However, the only thing with Ponce is Ponce has done that specific thing. I mean, this guy went from Argentina to like Russia to Spain. And I mean, talking about like, back to back seasons. So I think it's more natural to him in comparison to maybe like a Sebastian Kowalczyk that had never left Poland to land here, or maybe even no, not an Anali, because Anali did play in Germany and in Poland, but players that haven't left home, I think they do take a little longer to adapt for sure. Chris, I don't know what your
yeah.
thoughts are on that.
No, yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, he has to be the guy. It's not that if he is or not. Like, just when you spend, the amount of money that they spent on him, he has to be the guy. There's going to be a lot of stuff riding on his back. I mean, that's what we said the same thing. I feel like we said the same thing with Ferreira whenever he first came in.
Hmm.
Uh, and then you look at, Ache obviously different circumstance. But when Achacha came in, in that summer, that half a season that he had wasn't great.
No, and he was
Uh,
injured, and
yeah,
the World Cup was coming. It was very different for sure.
yeah, yeah. It was different. It was
And
different.
for Ferreira, yeah, you kind of had, obviously, anytime a team pays a good chunk of change for a
Yeah.
player, the expectations,
Oh
high
yeah.
from the get go. And whenever you see, just specifically those two guys, obviously Ferreira, as soon as Ponce was announced that the boy started scoring goals, right? He had a hat trick, and he scored a couple. I think he scored like 4 goals, I think, in the time that they said that Ponce was coming. So clearly he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, they can't take my job." And that right there, you seen the guy scoring goals. the fans are going to be like, why are you benching him? Why is he not playing? Ponce's
Yeah.
not doing it. But I think at the end of the day, they're very different players. And I do think that Ponce can score
100%.
just as Ferreira can score. But Ponce can do the dirty job. I mean, you can see how good he is, when it comes to
Quick.
the pressure, the quickness.
Yeah.
He's fast. I think if again, Anali and him would have been great. That they look like we're finally getting some chemistry after only a month playing, and obviously we know where that ended. So now it's to start over. Can Ali do it? Can Gaines be the guy? Can Brad Smith be the one to play that wing and do crosses? And you really don't know, but the expectation, especially for Franco, is high, and I do think that he still has a good amount of games. Like I said, if the playoffs are to be made, then you need him to score, and he can. I think for sure he can definitely
Yeah.
score. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
He has to be. He has to be the guy. I mean, just for the money alone, right? He has to be the guy that will be your game changer, the
Mhm.
guy that will define, you going on to the next round, or you stay, or literally, or staying home. He has to feel that, and I think he does, right? Like, when I got to talk to him one on one early, before he even started, we asked him about the number 10 and the responsibility that it brings to, culturally, to people like us, right? Like Hispanic people, when you think of a 10, you think of, just the greats, right? And all the greats come to mind. And when you think of all the greats, you think of all the teams that they put on their shoulders.
Right.
So, and we asked them, like, do you feel like the responsibility of putting the team on your shoulders and having to go out there as the number 10 of your team, even though the position is obviously different, but you have to score goals. You have to put the team on your back, move it forward, take it forward. And yeah, we haven't seen goals yet, or as many as we would want to see, but the ones that he scored were quality, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like as we as we as the dynamo tighten up, all the screws, and get better fluidity, and the way that they want to play, I feel like they're still missing at least. Me honestly, I think Inali was that piece that we were missing,
Yeah.
and
Definitely, I
unfortunately it
agree
just
with
got
you.
taken over, right?
It sucks because now you're
It
gonna
does,
have to
like,
see again players that haven't gotten minutes,
yeah,
and
try to do
try to be
that.
that, and
Yeah,
that's gonna be the challenge. But I do
for
think
sure.
Ponce, I agree with you. I think you don't need him to score 10 goals, the rest of the season. It'd be great. You don't need him to, but you need him to
For sure.
either make the other team's defense second guess themselves and worry about him, and obviously scoring those goals in front of,
Hitters,
or those opportunities in front of goals, right?
for
And
sure.
in front of the opposition. And
Yeah,
I think he can do it. I mean, he's done it. Most of his goals are that, they're striker goals. They're just, he's there at the right time, and he, puts it in. So, um, I don't know. I think we have to be, Dago. I agree with you. I think it's unrealistic for him, but we have to be realistic in the sense of like understanding that this guy is the real deal. I think he can definitely start scoring in goals, and if there's 7 games left and he doesn't score a goal, okay, I won't say a goal, but say he only scores 2 goals in the next 7 games, but he goes crazy in the playoffs. Who
we'll
cares?
take it.
Who
Yeah,
cares?
for
Yeah.
sure.
You just need to be able to score when it really matters. So
Yeah.
it's fine. Um, but yeah. So I think we hit most of the thing again. Well, I guess we'll touch a little bit. They are going to be playing at home. Christian, going to that, or your wife still showing you
I
the papers?
No, I'm like 85, 90% sure that I'll be there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I think I'll be there. I'm not sure yet on what capacity yet. But I'll be there. I'll be at the game.
It's like
Um,
spiritually, emotionally, but not physically.
yeah, exactly. What's it called? Yeah, so they'll be playing RSL again for the 30 something time in 2 years.
That's gonna be a good game.
7:30. Yeah, it should be a fun game, man. And RSL looks very
RSL.
different. So everybody knows what's his face? No, I can't even think of the name. Chicho Arango, my guy.
Randos.
But he's been hurt actually. I think he's missed the last couple
That's a
games
good thing
with an injury.
for
But you have
us,
to
right?
remember, RSL did get some really good pickups in this transfer window. So they continue to get strong. Obviously, some of those players still need to like find their feet, but I mean, it won't take too long. I think Garcelle and Mastroeni do a very good job of integrating everybody pretty quickly, dude. So um, it's definitely gonna be an interesting match. Obviously, we know how good Diego Luna has been. Um, but yeah, Chicho Arango has 17 goals, bro. 17 goals.
That's
And
wild.
he won't be playing.
You know what's funny? They had their goal differential. The goal differential is plus 17.
Dang.
So basically, he is the goal differential for them.
Sheesh. Sheesh, man. Sheesh. Let me see. I was gonna try to tell you real fast who's the couple guys that picked up because I cannot think of their names. I think one of them is from Portugal. Let me see.
Portuguese.
Alrighty. Let me see. Am I on the right
Also, the
thing?
Dynamo being the third best defense in the league, it's pretty good. You know, when you have to go against forwards like that. I know
Yeah,
he's
for
not going to
sure.
be playing, but it does help.
For sure.
But I think Dynamo is one of the lower scoring. Is the third lowest scoring team in the West. Yeah, it's one of the at least in the West because
Yeah,
there's a
so
bunch
they
of those.
one of their recent pickup is a Portuguese Diogo Gonzalez. I don't know if it's Gonzalez or I'm gonna say
Goncalves.
it's Gonzalez. Yeah, it's with that weird
Yeah,
C thing. But yeah, I mean he's a very good player, and I think he played last game, and they won last game. They won 2-0 with the new players that they've brought in. So it's gonna be interesting. Definitely a very different RSL than the Dynamo have faced in the past. And even though Houston has been very good and has Salt Lake's number, you know, they are prone to drop some points at home. I think that's been the story of the year, so of
we've
the
seen it.
season. Being
Yeah,
fantastic. I think they have like the best record in a long time
that way.
playing
Yes.
away, but they tend to drop some pretty big eggs, man,
Yeah.
when they play at home. Um, well, Chris, let's just say, what's your prediction for this game against RSL? You think they still uh, get that win, or I don't know,
I'm gonna go 2-0. I
2-0?
feel pretty.
Okay,
Yeah, I feel pretty confident that they
okay.
can hold them off, and that Ponce can at least get one in.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that we haven't really touched on, and I know you mentioned with the dash, I don't even know how many clean sheets the Dynamo have, but they have a good amount, man.
So,
You may
I'll look
have
it up
that in
right.
front of you, but yeah, I think a 2-0 sounds like a good number. I know that nobody expected the last time they played. I think the Dynamo won 3-0 with all three goals being in that first half. So
There
it
you
can
go.
happen.
They
That's
have
for sure.
7. LAFC has 10.
Okay.
They're number 1. Seattle, Charlotte, and Columbus have 9. Toronto has 8, and then Galaxy, New York Red Bulls, Austin, the Dynamo, City, Orlando City, Philadelphia Union, and Salt Lake all have 7. So it's pretty even league in a way.
All right. Well, Chris, I think we've talked about everything for this
Yeah.
week. The only thing that we're gonna finish off with, we're doing good time, man. But with like 10 minutes left, the free agents list came out
Ooh,
this past week, I believe, or Monday. I think it was Monday. And obviously there's a couple Houston Dynamo names in there. However, all of the players there have a contract option. So I believe there's 8 Dynamo players. All of them have options. I'll tell you the names, and maybe you can tell me who you see the Dynamo keeping, or actually, I'll just say a name, and you say yes, no, if we'll see
dale.
them or not, type of thing. Let's do that. So that way it makes it a little easier. So let's start with Latif Blessing has a club option.
Uh yes, as a debt piece.
All right. Steve Clark.
Yes.
All right. Uh, your boy Franco Escobar,
Yes.
John Gregus,
No, thank you. Thank you for your services.
Tay Schmidt, Taters. What do you think about Taters?
I would say no.
No, yeah. Um, then you have Brad Smith, Liverpool legend Brad Smith.
Liverpool legend. I would say no because I feel like Quinones might be back by then, and then if you have Ali U, depending on what happens with Ali U, but I would say no just because I think we'll have a lot of young children coming in.
Sure.
I don't think he's that old, but he's not young either. So
Alrighty. Then we have two more. We have Daniel Steres, Dan,
yes,
and the
give me a
man,
Dan. There's always he's a great depth piece in the back.
bro.
He can play anything.
He's legit.
Yeah,
I'm telling you guys, he's my favorite player, guys. He's my favorite
for
player.
real.
Jay Hurtado, thanks for listening, man, from LA, like always. We
Shout
got to
out.
get you some stickers, man. Jay, do you ever come to Houston? That's the question. And if you do, um, or maybe next year, try to make it to Houston and we'll go hang out with you before or
Yeah.
after a game, dude. Last one, Andrew Tarbell. What do you think about
Tarbell.
Andrew? You keep him, you let Xavier get some minutes. What are we doing here?
That's a tough one. I feel like Tarbell is a good goalkeeper for like those US Open Cup runs.
They were short this year, huh?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man. That's a oh shit. I say yes. I feel like how old is Xavier? 23?
20, I think. No?
Oh, he's still young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say yeah. I think Xavier's still a little bit young. He can get another year, and that's the thing about goalkeepers. Goalkeepers usually blossom like later on in life,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And Tarbell, even though he looks like he's 42, he's probably like 23 or something like that. He's super young. He just has a lot of white hair. I don't know. I guess he has a lot of stress in his life. But I feel you though, Tarbell. I feel you, dog. But no, yeah, I'll keep Tarbell. I think he's a great depth piece. I think he can do the job really well as a backup goalkeeper.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I agree. I think he hasn't. I think statistically, even though he's played a very few amount of games, he's one of the best players, man. That's for sure. Goalie wise. So
Yeah.
again, very limited amount of sample size. I think 3-5 games, but he's
Yeah.
performed in those games. Obviously, he
Stepped
played
up.
when Steve broke his nose. Had to get surgery. Hopefully, Arthur did play. I mean, paid for that plastic surgery when the boy broke his nose. But yeah, just it's incredible. Again, this list, you see it, and I think it's pretty easy to pick out who probably will be here, who probably won't be here. Granted, we'll still have plenty of time for that discussion, but it's good for you guys to be informed of who are the pieces that will likely be moved. And I think again, it's an interesting point. I don't know why, but I really thought that Hector Herrera was um
Up.
also had like club option.
Didn't he extend? Or am I tripping?
I think you're tripping, but let me see.
Like,
I
think
thought,
you're
and I thought I could have sworn I had it in front of me, but I was looking for the sheet that we had.
you think that boy retires here?
I'd be great. I think so. I mean, why not? But granted, San Diego, like anything, could also be calling them. But I mean, if you guys saw that, cool little 6-minute video that Apple made,
No,
I mean, it looks like the guy loves it here. It
yeah.
looks like he likes it here.
He has
So
embraced like the whole H town type thing.
yeah, Chacha Town.
Like I think it fits him. I think his kid, also like having your family be happy at a spot. I feel like it also like as a dad, right? I feel like that goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, he looks like he loves his life here in Houston. I mean, it's pretty chill. When what else can you ask for? If you're a Mexican national in Houston, Texas, honestly, like you're so close to home in a way.
Yeah, like Cancun is like 2 hour flight. I mean, come
bro.
on,
That's
that's
and
nothing.
like and Houston could be easily another city of Mexico. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
definitely.
Like
Hey, it's one
if you
of
go to
those,
the right
man.
spot,
Some people say they cross the border. Sometimes you think the border crosses you. There's people that've been
yeah,
here. Texas used
exactly.
to be Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel. I mean, Yeah. I don't know. I can see Achacha retiring in Houston and just like working in the academy and doing stuff like that
And he's
in the future,
playing very
like
well. I
some
mean,
Boniek stuff.
just think about it. We forget that this man gave everybody a heart attack in the preseason, right? Whenever we found out that a big name was injured, for the Dynamo, and people saying like, "Oh, Achach is not in training. What's happening?"
Son of a
And
gun.
we were like, "Oh, dang, what is it?" And I mean, it's been said, that the injury looked pretty bad. It looked like a it was a
Oh
knee
yeah.
injury. Obviously, any of that kind of hurts, literally. And but the guy has come back. Yes, maybe hasn't been, the assist assassin that he was last year, but the guy's still playing very well, man. He's very active. He controls the ball. I mean, he's the leader of the team, and if he can continue to play that way, and he wants to continue to play here. I mean, he is 34, I believe. Um,
Man.
he can, if he wants to, he can hopefully be here and continue with the team. And obviously, it's not necessarily all on him. If he's on club options, and they're gonna have to figure out if they want to keep him or try something different. And now we know that they are willing to spend money. So if Hector Herrera leaves, they're gonna have to find somebody that can do at least close to what he can do, and they're
100%.
gonna have to drop some good penny. And yeah, so it's pretty good. I mean, again, we'll I guess dive deeper later on. Um, Final thoughts, Christian? Anything you want to mention? No.
Nah, man. I think we're good. The Dynamo look promising. We just gotta put the ball in the back of the net. But other than that, Dynamo's a good team, and I'm glad to be experiencing it now with you guys.
Yeah, Rushan says something interesting here. He said Webb Tilton moves to Spain. So that's
RIP.
crazy. I think I told you guys on our chat. I was like, man, I really haven't seen Webb like too active on social media like he used to be, talking Dynamo and stuff. And well, now we know, man. Maybe he fell in love, Christian.
Yeah, never know.
Maybe I know he had gone to Valencia. You fall in love. It's you know,
That's
it's
it.
it's it's difficult to do a long distance relationships, man. Maybe it's time to move over there. I mean, I hope he did.
Yeah.
If that's something he's looking for, man, go get it,
Shout out
man.
Webb.
Go get it.
Yeah.
But definitely he's gonna be one of those guys that we're definitely gonna, for us that go to the stadium often, you'll miss seeing his 30 flags. And
Yeah.
unless somebody continues that tradition, I'm sure he'll
Yeah.
try to pass them on um for somebody to do. But I mean, shout out to him. I mean, he was like Albert Elise, he's taking him to the airport, this and that. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
That's
And
wild.
I guess we'll finish with that. I mean, obviously, Albert Elise, he's been at the Dynamo Stadium quite a few times. Rumor has it that he's trying to sign a contract. I
Hey.
mean, the man has, his team basically disappeared, and he's a free agent. So he clearly does not look like the same Albert Elise, especially after that really bad and severe injury he suffered.
Yeah.
Traumatic injury for sure. But let's finish with that, Chris, man. What do you think about that possibility? Would that be somebody you would want? I mean, I'm sure
Yeah, bro.
it'd be a free, pretty
Uh,
easy. There's no transfer or anything. I
nah,
mean,
just give him a paycheck and he'll show up. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, it's probably not cheap either, but um, no, I think it would be great, man. Having it like a piece like that, like a soup. I mean, if it was a depth piece, that's a really good depth piece. Like
yeah, for sure.
very good. Imagine, same thing, right? Ali, probably will get the start still, but then you have, Albert Elise coming in the second half, kind of like an Ali did. I mean, what else can you want? And I mean, before Ache and this generation of players, we could easily say that hands down, Albert Elise was the best player that the Dynamo ever had,
I
kind of,
agree. I
or at
agree.
least
No,
top
no, no.
three, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it'd be
no.
I know we had done the whole Rushmore, the
Yeah,
Rushmore Mountain or Mountain Rushmore,
yeah,
and he probably wasn't in it, but I mean, he's probably number 5. If
yeah.
you're putting
Right
4
there.
up there, and I agree. I mean, and I've said to this to you before, seeing I've been able to go to a lot of matches, whether it be Dynamo or just friendlies or Copa Oro, Copa America. um he's probably the best player I've ever seen, like at his prime. I mean, it was legit how crazy this guy was, how good he was, especially like in 2017, 2018, 2019. I mean, ridiculous. And if you could get 75% of that, you take
Oof,
it, man. You
that's
take
too
it.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I mean, because what is Anali giving you right now? 0.
exactly. So next year,
So what is Quinones giving you? 0. So if you can get 70% Albert Ellis, I think you take it, man. If it's an opportunity,
yeah, if at
especially
least
in the
can give
free,
you 30 minutes, that's enough, bro.
that's all you need. That's all you
That's
need.
all you need.
All right,
Yeah.
man. So hey, again, thanks you guys for joining us. Rushan, very active. Jay, Dago. I know that it was crazy that there's a lot of people that listen to us. Chris, it may not be a big number up in that corner, um, but it's crazy because we get so many people watching, and so hopefully we will get this to stream once again on Twitter here shortly, man. Maybe we
Jeez.
just need to go ahead and set it up pretty soon. So
Yeah.
the only thing that I was gonna add was something that I forgot. So crazy how that works, huh? Maybe getting old. Man, I don't remember what I was gonna say, Chris. What was I
Here,
gonna say, Chris?
let me tell you where. Let me tell the people they can find us while you think about what you were
Yes.
thinking.
Oh, I remember, but yeah, keep
Oh,
going.
go ahead, before you
Oh, I was
forget.
gonna say, yeah. So we've been working. Chris, you always mention how we're always working for more content.
Yes.
We should be getting a new Argentinian in the club here. So,
Oh,
Chris knows them. We'll see how it's gonna go. Being that it's difficult for everybody in our team to get together and record. The guy lives next door to me, so we're trying to figure out a way that we can record um short. Definitely we're gonna keep them brief. I've noticed that you guys Argentinians, man, y'all can talk forever.
we
So
yeah, bro. Yeah,
I told them it was maybe 15 minutes.
that's
So
not enough.
yeah, exactly. So the idea is to have a show or a segment, I guess, that would go on our YouTube and our podcast feed, and it'd be just in Spanish for 15 minutes and purely Dynamo. No Dynamo 2, no Dash. It'd be just purely Dynamo. And definitely me and David is his name will be the ones doing most. Obviously we'll work on doing it weekly, but Chris could probably or may show up by himself and do them as well. So and myself, we kind of been discussing it. We're just trying to figure out, and I think we got it down. And so tomorrow he's free, so I'm putting him to work to get everything together. Because I had bought all the equipment like a year ago and never really like I was like, dude, we never meet with Chris. I never meet with Rodrigo or anything like that.
Yeah,
So it's set apart. We're gonna get it all put together. So we'll try to hit that Spanish population, man, that loves the Houston Dynamo. And
the
if you speak
Latinos.
English and Spanish, and people that only speak Spanish, man, let them know how they can listen to us. Again, it'd be on YouTube, it'd be on podcast forms. So excited about how that's gonna go. And if everything goes well tomorrow, we'll work on an intro. Um, what's it called? Yeah, an intro recording for the people to see, and then maybe
That's perfect.
yeah, it's gonna be legit. I think we're gonna make it work, man. Something that we've been talking about, Chris and I, and man, we just don't have enough time in the day. So if we can add some, hell, it could be David doing it by himself, and maybe I don't even do any cameos anymore.
With a little mate, like
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna tell him to be as Argentina as he can be, man, and just bring it in. Obviously we'll do an intro and he'll kind of explain, and introduce himself, And but just a heads up, obviously a new guy. He hasn't been here this long in Houston area. But funny enough, he has family that's been in Houston, lived actually in Katy, and
Shout out.
they've always followed the Dynamo, and they're supporters or fans.
Let me just say, well, perfect. Was it Spanish? Not Spanish. Hispanic Heritage Month, so that's perfect.
Yep.
And then also, I was gonna say, shout out to David, but
there he is. Look, he just said something. There he goes.
He's probably not as. He's probably not as
What
smart
does
at soccer.
¿Qué significa AR? ¿Alguien sabe qué significa AR?
AR? Wait, what? But David, estaba tomando Gancia recién. He knows what it is. But I was gonna say, David might not know as much soccer as I do because he's an Independiente fan. So forgive him for his lack of soccer knowledge.
Hey, at least we didn't invite a River Plate fan.
So. Hey, yeah, shout out to you.
Yeah,
and shout out to him. No, but David's a cool kid. So yeah, man, stay tuned for that. He's gonna be great.
Yeah, it should be fun. Again, we'll work on it. Hopefully, he looked like he was excited when I mentioned it to him. He used to actually write like blog similar to, I guess, what we do here at Bayou City Soccer for a page that followed Independiente over there. So yeah, so we'll see what we can do. We'll put him to work. You get to America, man, you got to earn your stripes.
Right,
it's quick.
American dream, baby.
So yeah, man. So with that say, Chris, I know you already told the people how they can connect with us. Oh no, you didn't.
I haven't. No.
You let me
let you say your piece.
Yeah, go for it, man.
No, BayouCitySoccer.net is the website, guys. Go check it out. Like we said, new content, new people coming on board. So hopefully we'll get a cool new ideas coming in to the group and to you guys. So check us out. Don't forget, there's Dash previews. There's Dash match recaps. Dynamo those recaps. Dynamo regular Dynamo recaps. So check it out, guys. BayouCitySoccer.net. Social media. Go to the Instagram. Go to the Twitter. The X, the YouTube channel, Bayou City Soccer is going to be the name for all of those. So go check that out. And once again, man, shout out to Ugly Guppy at uglyguppy.com for helping us out and hooking us up with great Bayou City Soccer merch. So shout out to everybody.
Whenever he said that, you know what song my kids have been singing lately? They never really watch SpongeBob, but they're singing the Goofy Goober. So whenever you said, I thought you were going to say Ugly Goober. But yeah, shout out H-Town, man. Yeah, don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange.